Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Geek Bytes podcast. This is episode 90. We're already at 90, folks. And every single week on the podcast, we're going to the best geek and tech news. We discuss that news, and we are going to talk about anything else we're interested in. I'm Ramon, Mejia.
I'm Edgar, Acosta. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Now, before we begin, I want to give a big shout out to our newest Patreon supporters for the podcast. Justin Johansson is willing to pay $3 a month, $3 a month level. And Blaise Corvin and Edward Castle, who are the absolute most amazing supporters we could ask for, are at the $6 a month level. Exactly. That's how much they love the Geek Bytes podcast and, of course, the Lit RPG podcast.
Oh, you guys are so fucking awesome, I swear. It's whatever you guys want us to do.
What he said.
We'll give you the shout out. Thank you so much, Justin, Blaise, and Edward. Oh, you guys have really cool names too. Corvin, Castle. Shoot, how come you guys aren't comic book heroes?
You sound like superheroes, I know.
Yeah,
and to us, you're definitely heroes. But because they've all pledged at least $3 in the month, folks, they actually get an original, funny, weird video of their choice made by us two guys here. So if anyone in the audience wants to have any suggestions, you can drop them in the show notes or in the comment section for the video here, either on YouTube, on our Facebook, or anywhere else we can find it at. But those guys officially get to make that decision about what kind of video they want us to make, so they know how to get a hold of us. And we'll be sending them an email later, officially asking for their input. I have some crazy ideas, and I'm sure this guy does too, about what kind of weird things we can do to thank them for their amazing support of the podcast. But from here, we're going to go back to the regular show. So in Geek News this week, we're going to talk about
Tesla, Snapchat, NES Classic, Justice League, Star Wars, and much, much more.
Absolutely. We're going to begin our show, though, with Geek News.
All right. Let's see. Tesla to charge a supercharge. Tesla will limit free supercharging to buyers of all models of its cars for purchases after January 1st. After that date, Tesla buyers will get a 400 kilowatt hours of free credit each year, and each charge after that will carry a small fee. Tesla asserted that it does not see the superchargers as profit centers and will keep price below, and you would pay fill a similar gasoline powered car.
Okay, so basically this is more about where they're going as a technology company. Instead of giving away this amazing cost-cutting ability for their customers, giving away free electricity basically to charge their vehicles at malls and other locations through their supercharger program, which is kind of a fast way of charging their vehicles instead of like having to plug in overnight at your house. There's a special technology that charges it in hours instead of 8, like 1, and you can kind of fill up your whole electrical tank if you want to think of it that way. But previous to this announcement, that was given away for free to any Tesla owner as part of like their deal package for their vehicle. If I turn the mic, it would be more useful to hear me. But basically, Tesla is saying, now, folks, I'm sorry, we can't afford to give this away for free anymore. There are too many customers. There are lines that are forming. And there are some people who are just kind of just sitting there charging their vehicles for like 4 or 5 hours and not letting other people use it. So that kind of makes sense that they want to start charging people so that people don't just take advantage of it and not let everyone have a chance.
It's an equivalent to what you've seen, I don't know, at certain malls. I don't know if you've seen. Of course, usually it's a cross-promotional thing from certain phone companies. T-Mobile has like little docking stations that you could charge. The cord's not really that long. You know, you have to leave your phone there. So if you leave it kind of vulnerable, you have to walk away little chair right there. Or you could have a little table you could sit whatnot. Some people are kind of iffy about it, thinking there was conspiracy, like while you're charging, it's actually stealing your information and whatnot. You know, those kind of people are thinking about it. But also beats like those people that are literally whatever outlet there is, they're just plugged in and just like landlining it, just stuck there until the phone obviously charges. There are some other ones that they do charge. I don't know if it's supercharged style for the phones, but I can see it happening for the cars. It'd be no different than people just waiting around time after time.
Yeah, that's one of the downsides of an electric vehicle, is that it takes so long to kind of charge your vehicle at this point. So That's just one of those consequences. But to me, if you only have to charge it up like once a day or every couple of days, it totally makes it worth it in my estimate. And the price of electric vehicles are coming down more and more, which makes it more affordable, more enticing for people to switch from gas to electric.
I would totally see it just like having an extra gas tank or like, you have to fill up, have an extra battery, just like the way we carry with our phones.
It's a little harder when your battery is the size of your trunk. It's harder to have it. I'm sure you can't always customize it. There are options to have increased battery sizes, but it costs like an extra couple grand at minimum to kind of set that thing up. So downsides, upsides, but Tesla stopped giving it away for free. So yeah. Okay. Moving on to our next story, it's going to be about Snapchat and their new glasses and a vending machine apparently. Snapchat vending machines. Snap has started putting out vending machines to sell its $129 spectacles product. It's a pair of sunglasses with a camera video designed to be used with Snapchat. Using a credit or a debit card, you can use the vending machine to choose a black, coral, or teal spectacles. The first vending machines appeared in Abbot Kinney area near Snap's headquarters in Venice Beach, California. The vending machines, called Snapbots, will move to new locations every single day. And is it me, or does that picture of these guys look like the vending machine look like a minion?
Very similar. I've seen the glasses in action. Honestly, if you ever gone to or been to one of those 3D rides, it reminds you of the Bugs Life, really oversized, cartoony, shaded glasses that has a little two camera things on the sides on it. You might as well go with a Google Glass. I'm not sure if that's even still around or relevant for recording video and whatnot. But I would rather just deal with that. Yeah, it is a little cute, little minion looking kind of thingy, but I don't know. Like I remember seeing those trendy, like even in certain malls and certain locations, the electrical appliance vending machines where you could buy an iPod or an iPad and all that if you just happen to swipe your credit card or somebody else's. I guess.
It's an interesting way. Like it's not a cheap product. It's $120, but apparently, the first one they put out, there were lines around the block, like for 3 or 4 blocks in Los Angeles, or in California, Venice Beach, for people wanting to purchase these things. So they're a hot commodity. They're kind of making it a limited product run, and people are trying to compare it to Google Glasses as far as like how it's going to succeed as being sort of augmented reality. But they're very different products. The Snapchat glasses essentially just taking 3-second videos or pictures and just sending them to Snapchat automatically. And for some people, that's amazing, and they're kind of cute glasses. But for $129, it's a little pricey for me. But for some people, it seems to be more than worth if they're willing to wait for literally hours in line to use a vending machine.
No, if you already obviously a majority of the world has a camera on their phone, you're set. You're good.
Yeah, but this feels like this is probably just super trendy, and that's all it really is, because you just tap your thing, a little camera on each side flashes, and it'll take video or pictures. But it's one of those things, like it's intentionally rare by making it only available in a vending machine in a certain location, and so people are willing to wait for anything like that. And we're talking about some more rare vending things that are coming out later.
Yeah, better not be those Asian vending machines where you can buy those used panties.
Yes, those Japanese vending machines can make really interesting.
Gross. But they got beer ones, though.
Yeah, quick shout out to Edith Wolf and Douglas Freeman, who are watching us in our live chat. So, hey, guys. Yeah.
All right, but one thing that's awesome that is out that I know people have bought, and I want myself, to be honest, is the classic NES. And it's gone. Nintendo's retro re-release of the Nintendo Entertainment System, a pint-sized recreation called the NES Classic Edition, hits stores today in the United States. The mini NES, which comes with a 30 pre-installed games as part of its $59.99 package, is already sold out at most major retailers. It's sold out in seconds on Amazon, Target, and Best Buy. Other brick and mortar had their entire stock of mini consoles run out hours after their doors open. Some people are even reselling the items on eBay for $150, over up to $4,000. Okay.
Yeah, so that's not a joke. I checked it on eBay. They're from literally $150, which is double the price of the. It only cost $60 in the stores.
That's how it is, man.
But there were literally, it was like 1 or 2 people were selling for over $4,000, and they had sold out like 6 of the 7 that they were selling at that price point, because somebody had bought it for $4,000. this Nintendo Entertainment System Classic version, and I know it's cool, and I'm a huge fan of the classic NES system, but you can buy an actual NES with games for a lot cheaper than that. So it's again one of those trendy issues that
Yeah,
doesn't make sense to me.
it's the hot commodity. It is the tickle me Elmo of this year. There's other things that are out right now, but this is the hot product. Anybody was born in the '80s, or at least around in the '80s when the original came out, it's a nostalgia factor. It's like I talked about a lot of people that are literally rebuying their childhood. They're buying old toys. That's why you see, like, if you ever been to a Target, there's an actual retro toy section, a little thing where you have like Stretch Armstrong, old school packaging and everything, because it's a nostalgia feature. It's no different than when people go to Comic-Con to pick up their collectibles of stuff they've had when they
Yeah,
were
but
growing up.
$5,000 worth of collectible nostalgia, that seems way overpriced. I'd be willing to pay double maybe if I couldn't get it anywhere else. But four or $5,000 for this little thing, that seems a little bit. Hey, I'm not gonna neg on the sellers if they can get somebody to buy it for that much. Hey, good on them. But there are people who intentionally rushing these stores, rushing Amazon with the intention of buying out their entire stock, so that they can resell it on eBay for a much larger profit model. And that to me seems a little shady because these are just meant to be fun and interesting. But it is economics. It's the laws of supply and demand. The supply is down, limited quantities being sold before Christmas, and so they're making their money. And I can't say that that's not very entrepreneurial of them. It's just maybe it's just me saying being bitter that I can't get a hold of one if I wanted to.
Oh yeah, trust me. I was very tempted to go hit up the store for anything. Hopefully they'll reach it, because funny thing is, Sega has actually had a system similar to it a long time ago that actually even has a card slot, so you can actually put the Sega cartridges in it. This one is just a prefabricated, smaller version of micro-sized.
It literally runs on an Android operating system. It's nothing special, or it runs on Linux or something. But there's just pre-installed. It's on a chip and on a card, and it's there. The rest of it is just packaging. So you can actually do the exact same thing on a custom card with running Linux. So there's nothing special, but it's just the nostalgia factor. It looks really cute. The controls are there, so it's so people are going to go out of their way for it, especially during the holiday buying season. They're thinking of getting these things for people, and it's just Amazon's already out, so you have to wait until the next time they're restocked. Hopefully, that's in the next couple of weeks, so the people can buy them before the end of Black Friday.
I like it. Do you want it?
I like the idea of it. I
The idea of it.
well, no, I like the idea of having something like this. It's unique. It's very plug and play friendly. It's encapsulated in its own system, so you don't have to work around like Xbox One or the PS4 control system. I'd probably get bored with it very quickly. I'd play around for like an hour or two for nostalgia, or to play these games, and then I'd be like, okay, that's it, and it goes. Sit on my shelf. But for some people, that's more than enough to spend the money for them, especially if you can't think of things to buy for people for Christmas.
You guys want to be uber cheap? Emulators.
That's all it really is.
Emulators.
It's a fancy looking emulator. So it's, so that's what it is. But moving on to our next story, some great entertainment news, as long as my mic is on, and it is, so that's good. Siren Hans to play Steppenwolf in Justice League. So if you've been wondering who's actually going to be playing this particular character, it's the guy from Games of Thrones. So that's who it is. If you're not sure who that is, we'll let you know in a second as I read the thing. After it was revealed that Steppenwolf is indeed the main villain in the 2017 Justice League movie, many wondered who'd be playing the new god of apocalypse. And now we have an answer. The Wrap reports that Steppenwolf is none other than Game of Thrones star Syrian Hines. Hines is known for the unlikable character in Game of Thrones, Mance Rayder, a.k.a. the King Beyond the Wall. So if you know any of that stuff, you know who I'm talking about. I have no idea who the guy is. I think I've seen him in trailers. I don't watch Game of Thrones, unfortunately. I don't have HBO. So that's the reason, folks. Don't yell at me. I know you guys love Game of Thrones, some people. But now you know who's going to be playing Steppenwolf, who's an actually interesting character in the Justice League. You might have seen like clips of him at the very end of that movie or like behind the scenes stuff. But it looks like it's going to be a cool character.
Obviously, the same thing with me. Never really watched the Game of Thrones. Caught an episode here and there. Just didn't have the attention or at least the patience to watch it. As for DC, never too familiar with Steppenwolf. I remember hearing the name for a band, but not as a character. So it's a little different. I'll probably be educated, if anything, like for the noobs that, especially for the people that have never seen like any Marvel or DC movie, first time watching it, they'll have some kind of semi-origin story. That way, at least some people have some kind of background. But for everybody else, they'll have a little probably Easter eggs, like, oh
Yeah, he's definitely going to be the stepping stone into the Apocalypse, Gods of Apocalypse, the new Gods series of villains and heroes for DC, because those are some big names, culminating, of course, with the biggest villain in Darkseid in that particular franchise of heroes and villains. There was actually a very interesting storyline with Steppenwolf, where Batman, all the heroes in that particular DC universe were killed or destroyed, and Darkseid won, and they captured Batman, and they were torturing for years and years and years. And apparently, when like the new superheroes on Earth finally decided to fight Darkseid and to try to break the yoke on Earth, they found that Batman became the new Steppenwolf on Apocalypse, and it's a super interesting storyline. Kevin Smith talks about it a lot in reference to this particular villain in this storyline. So it's a cool storyline. Go check it out. But a lot of potential for some interesting stories. But if nothing else, he's a god, so he can stand up to Superman basically.
Yep. Okay. I want to see the Furies. I want to see. Hopefully they bring them out for the whole Apocalypse planet. But want to go? Yep. All right. More DC-related news. Young Justice Season 3 confirmed. Dayline has confirmed that a third season of the teen superhero team, Young Justice, will get a third season. While no network has been attached to the project, the director and writer hinted that Netflix would be the perfect home for the series. I watched it on Cartoon Network. It's on Netflix right now, at least for the first 2 seasons. It was really well done. It's no Teen Titans Go. It's not that one. But it was done really well, especially for a bunch of young heroes that I wasn't really too familiar with. I was like, I don't care about Superboy. I'm like, the Martian Manhunter girl. Who's this chick? Like, once again, not a huge DC fan, so I'm like, Kid Flash. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, they feel like the second-rate sidekick heroes, which they play on a lot, especially in the first season of Young Justice. Their angstiness about feeling second-rate because they're sidekicks to big superhero names, but they have a very interesting storylines within that series. I'm a huge fan of the Young Justice. I like Teen Titans as well. The first one, not the Teen Titans Go, that led into Young Justice as kind of a more mature version of the teen superhero franchise. But they have some very interesting storylines, growing up, coming of age kind of stuff. And I was sad to see it go after only 2 seasons. They had some really cool action-y stuff on par, if not better, than some of the Justice League stuff from like the earlier 2000 version of the Justice League. So I loved it.
The first 2 were awesome. It was very well written. The animation was great. Honestly, it almost they could actually probably do it into a live action, especially as good as the CW's been putting out the Flash and Green Arrow, and of course Heroes of Tomorrow. It could totally transition, but it's just a matter of if they want to do that.
Absolutely. And a quick shout out to Danny Martinez in the chat room. He says hello. He's a big fan of Young Justice League, Young Justice rather, season 3. He's looking forward to it. He says, yay for Speedy, and he says, what's up, guys? So hey, Danny Martinez, back at you.
Hey Danny, what's up, man? So more comic related stuff. We have the Ghost Rider spinoff being a possibility here. If you're familiar with the Ghost Rider's appearance in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you're going to like this one. To me, Ghost Rider in that series is amazing. He's one of the most interesting characters we've seen on the show in the last couple seasons. I wasn't a huge fan of the of the new kind of mutant thing that was going on, the Inhumans. I mean, it's okay, but it's not the most amazing storyline. I love the more classic feel of like the Ghost Rider. And if you've seen like the last episode of Marvel Agents, you not only get to see the new Ghost Rider, but you get to see the original Ghost Rider in that particular episode, the guy with the flaming skull on the bike and the flaming chains. They kind of changed the background story of this Ghost Rider in saying that he actually gets his powers from the original Ghost Rider. In that last episode, you actually see both of them next to each other, side by side. So it was kind of cool. But it turns out that Marvel was actually testing the possibility of a independent Ghost Rider
series, maybe again on Netflix. Netflix seems to be the place where people are willing to take chances for their intellectual properties, making them more popular, probably because of the track record of like making new and original things. So I'd be happy to see the Ghost Rider on Netflix. What about you, man?
It was cool. A lot of people were kind of like, "Hey, obviously it's not Nick Cage, so that's not the big deal. Not being Nick Cage. It is a Latin, if you will, Hispanic, whatever, whichever title they want to give it. A brown guy, a brown guy Ghost Rider, but in a souped up car. It really decked out. It was awesome. His skull almost looks almost like. I'm glad they didn't go with like a weird storyline and making it like a helmet, but it does kind of give that little look for it. It does give the flair. It's very LA based because if you watch the Agents of Shield, it's all LA based compared to like all the New York based kind of comic heroes that are out there. You know, give some LA some love. Hopefully, we might even get some West Coast Avengers. Not everybody's a fan of them, but you know, I don't care. I like Hawkeye. It's gonna be awesome if they do make a series. It'd be great because don't get me wrong, you watched both the Nick Cage movies, right? The Ghost Rider movies.
Yeah, I've seen the Ghost Rider movies. They weren't amazing. I'm hoping that if they do a Netflix version, they can do the rated R version that it deserves because the Ghost Rider comics were super graphic and violent, and there was nudity and sex all mixed in. The gore, they do a fine job of like cleaning it up for Marvel's Agents Show, which is an ABC show, so it's owned by Disney, so they can't show a bunch of gore. But in the original comic for Ghost Rider, it was very graphic and very hardcore and pretty, metal in that respect. But I would love to see something a little more adult on Netflix for this particular version, where they use the Hispanic, was it Danny Reyes or something? It's Robbie Reyes. This version of the Ghost Rider, the Hispanic Ghost Rider, but I wouldn't mind seeing the original Ghost Rider on the motorcycle as well. I think either one has the potential for very good stories of vengeance and violence and a bunch of good stuff.
I think I would actually jump on the bandwagon if he actually spoke in Spanish. That would have been like a trippy but awesome kind of thing. Like
This Ghost Rider, he does.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he does speak in Spanish.
But like in the Ghost Rider,
yeah. Well, I mean, the Ghost Rider himself doesn't talk when he's in the Ghost Rider form. Like there's like a in between phase on Marvel's Agents of Shield where he hit some flame coming out, his eyes turn red and flamey.
Yeah.
And he can still use some of the powers, and he's Spanish then.
It would have been cool just
there's like
seeing like pointing and go, do that
sort of, yeah. There are several scenes where he's talking to like gangsters in Spanish, and LA gangsters in prison. There's a really great prison scene where Ghost Rider's walking down, and it's a prison riot, but as he flames on, basically, all the prisoners get scared and they lock themselves back in their jail cells. But yeah, Danny Martinez in the chat room agrees. He says, yes, it needs to be a graphic Ghost Rider. That's the Ghost Rider that we love from the comics. But again, not everything has to be like the comics to be good. So there's a balance. They can have both versions of it. I'm okay with that.
They're just a couple characters away from completing the whole Midnight Suns storyline. So I think that would have been really cool.
So now we're going to move on to our next story. We have a couple trailers that came out this week. They're actually really interesting and amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing them personally. We're going to kind of just name them first, and we're going to talk about what we liked about them the best and which one was our favorite of the week. We have Luke Besson's Valerian trailer, which is really interesting, actually. The verse trailer for Luke Benson's Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. If you haven't seen it, it is an absolutely amazing sci-fi trailer. It has spaceships, spacesuits, aliens galore, monsters. It's pretty epic at this point. We also have the new Mass Effect trailer, Andromeda trailer. We have Ghost in the Shell, a teaser trailer that shows us Scarlett Johansson in an invisibility suit. It's a very famous scene from Ghost in the Shell. If you've never seen it, I definitely encourage you to catch it. It's like literally 15 seconds long. They're doing a bunch of teaser trailers for that movie, which is just slightly annoying, but it's also very enticing. I don't know why I think that. And the last trailer, of course, is the Rogue One international trailer. So those are the 4 trailers that we have. Man, which one did you like the best? Which one didn't you, and why?
Valerian kind of just threw out so much detail, like so much character, so much everything. I swear, it was like if that was a propaganda video for Scientology, I might have signed up just because it was just really out there. Honestly, I thought that was the Mass Effect trailer, just because the way the details on some of the suits and the aliens, it looked like it would transfer over really well. It almost gives you a feel of the Fifth Element in a way, but a lot more detail of course, up in space compared to just more of the New York baseline kind of deal. But it's so good that I like the little mini theme song of using the Beatles, "Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds," and it was just done very well. I'm not sure if it's how large of a fan base it has. Like, is this one of those, once again, books transfer to a movie kind of deal, or is this fresh?
Book to movie kind of thing.
We'll see how big the fan base is on
you
that.
can tell there's a big Fifth Element.
Oh yeah.
To it. As far as like them using real, instead of using a bunch of CGI for the aliens, they're
Mm-hmm.
using real, physical costumes.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of shows the type of quality
Mm-hmm.
that's possible here. But I actually, one of my favorite one was the Ghost in the Shell one. I gotta say,
Oh, yeah.
It's small. It's a small snippet. It just literally seconds. Scarlett Johansson or an invisible Scarlett Johansson kicking butt. But it kind of gave me a feel like, oh, they're doing Ghost in the Shell right, hopefully, because it's one of my favorite animated movies. It's and one of my favorite animated series. And I was hoping that they would do a good job of it. I was really kind of suspicious about it being with Scarlett Johansson. I understand they probably want to use her fame to promote the movie and make it really popular, but it kind of made me worry about if they were going to do a good job with it. And that scene alone kind of assuages some of my fears.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. Once again, really short.
Oh man, I forgot my mic.
I kind of wish they actually did have a Asian actress. No offense to Scarlett Johansson, but I think it would have given it a better feel. It almost like it wasn't Eon Flux, but it was cool. Like, I was waiting for using the old animated cartoon series movie whatnot.
For Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah. I was waiting for that giant kind of like quadruped mech sliding kind of robot thing to appear.
Yeah, no, I hear it.
I was like,
they're probably going to show it.
yeah.
It's not that hard of a special effect, and it played very well into the story. But Danny Martinez in the chat does point out that Scarlett Johansson is not nude. It's a full body costume in this little snippet here, and in the original Ghost in the Shell, the character is nude, and it's more part of her bionic circuitry because the character is I don't want to call it it's a full body cyborg where it's basically her brains in there, but the rest of it's a machine, and so it has a bunch of enhancements like the ability to go invisible, but she has to get naked to do it in the movie, and that was part of the riskiness of the original animated feature, and that is that they showed cartoon nudity, even though it was considered artistic because she's not really human. She's I don't want to say a robot. She's a cyborg body, so it's kind of cool and not. But Danny Martinez did point out rightly that they did not include Scarlett Johansson naked.
They'll probably do the side boob thing like the way they did with Angelina Jolie in Tomb Raider, because there was the mod code thingy in the old Tomb Raider game that you could play with her, play as her naked. But they did show her. They'll probably show some butt crack, side boob. I really doubt you're going to see any nipple or anything else.
What'd you think of that new Star Wars international trailer?
It was good. That's the thing about international trailers. What you see here in the States, it's one awesome one. Like, there's the global one, but then the international trailers, they throw in a little extra just for, I don't know why. I don't know why they do it. It's the same movie. Everybody's going to watch the same flick. I don't know why they had to do that, but must be a little thing like, okay, all right, Asian countries, here's some more robots than other things. Or like, hey, Europe, here's more dialogue, I guess.
I don't think it showed, to me, it didn't show that much new stuff. I mean, there were a couple new seconds in the scenes. But I'm already kind of sold on Star Wars Rogue One, so I don't need any more trailers. I guess there are a few people who need a little more before December rolls around, but it's really only a little over a month till the movie comes out. And I think that now they're past the Doctor Strange, like that's the next big movie. Yeah. So Doctor Strange came out. We haven't seen it yet, unfortunately, guys. We're going to see it this weekend. We had some family issues come with that.
Yeah.
Where not everybody can make it, so we're going to catch it this weekend. But Rogue One, I'm definitely looking forward to, man.
Yeah, I'm guessing this one's going to pay for the rest of the Star Wars land for Disneyland eventually, because that's still being in the works. That's still being made. And of course, the in-between Disney flick that's happening is Moana, and that's coming out on Thanksgiving. But Rogue One is definitely gonna it's gonna be number one for sure. I just don't know how many times it'll be number one, and then we'll see how. Hopefully, things don't go too out of hand like what they did with Star Wars, as in a lot of rules and regulations of not letting people like dress up and stuff, which is weird. Or like safety, I understand safety concerns and all that, but I don't think they're gonna do a marathon again like they did with the other ones. If they do, that'd be amazing. But
well, it's not really. There's nothing to marathon with it. It's not in the main storyline.
no,
There's
it's a middle. It's like
yeah, no, it's a solo story. So there's nothing to marathon with. There's nothing connected to like episode 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, and 6. Just by itself. So I mean, I'm sure somebody somewhere is going to do a marathon. A theater chain's going to be like, yeah, we can just like promote this the heck out of this. We're doing a marathon thing, but it doesn't need it. It doesn't benefit from it, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's all about the merchandising. Anything that you saw for Rogue One toy wise, anything that like, oh my God, there's this new blah blah blah.
I'm not the big huge toy fan. I think that you are. There's a guy at my work, Jesse, who's a huge. He's buying the Rogue One figures left and right every time. He'll like try to schedule his day off. Like a vacation day, for the release days. He's a huge fan, and I appreciate all the stuff he posts on Facebook about the different figures. But to me, it's like it's not my thing. I love the movies. The figures are kind of cool to look at, but it's not something I would buy personally. The one I was kind of excited to see was from the movie was the droid, the assassin droid they show in the trailer.
Slow moving kind of.
Yeah, he looks like looks kind of like a small version of the Iron Giant. Oh, yeah, that guy. He's an assassin droid who's been reprogrammed to serve the rebellion basically. Yeah. But this is nostalgic for me because in Knights of the Old Republic there was also an assassin droid who was really just snarky and sassy, and it reminded me of that particular attitude where he was like calling humans meat bags. And he was a darker character from that video game. So that's what it reminds me of. And that's why I kind of look forward to seeing that particular character personally. But Danny Martinez in the chat room says he's looking forward to new toilet paper, Star Wars themed, I guess.
Why not, man? You know, the thing is about that toilet paper, like any kind of Star Wars item, it'll be a collector's item.
Absolutely. But like the last one we're talking about is the new Mass Effect Andromeda trailer. It wasn't amazing to me. It's a 2017 property, so we're gonna see a bunch more of it towards that when you see it. But I mean, it's not a bad trailer. It's very interesting and pretty, but it doesn't tell me too much new about it. There's some new news that we're also gonna see a classless Mass Effect game. So there's not gonna be set classes that you kind of put your skill points into, but you're gonna have a variety of options apparently within the video game to kind of choose and pick and combine to make your own unique classes and skills and tech trees, and of course weapons and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to more open world feel for Mass Effect, but it's something that's so far out. We have so many more things coming up that I'm more excited about, like of course Doctor Strange, which is now Rogue One coming out. Those two properties alone are already filling out my plate personally.
Yeah, I've already got a little bit of a spoiler about like the post credits and stuff like that, which
for Doctor Strange.
I'm not gonna ruin it for you guys.
I'd appreciate you not ruining it. But Danny Martinez said he's looking forward to the Rogue One flamethrower. My friend Jesse has a couple of those. It's a pretty cool looking figure. It reminds me of the Clone Wars figures.
Oh yeah.
But of course, flamethrower.
Yeah, it's gonna be good either way. I just wanted to, since it's a semi in between kind of look between episode 3 and 4. Obviously they got the classic stormtroopers in there, but I also want to see the little tie-ins because I want, especially towards the end, because the whole concept is the plan's getting to Leia. So obviously they can't have Miss Carrie Fisher.
Are you trying to count how many Bothans died to get it to them?
Yeah, that and we'll see because. Unless they do the special effect, the thing that they've done like with a lot of old actors, they kind of CG them to look younger. If they'll do that with her in the somewhat,
you think that's going to be the very last scene?
Yeah, where she gets the plans and then takes off.
I don't know if they need. I mean, they could just do Carrie Fisher like younger up, I guess, or they could just like steal a scene or a lookalike or something. And they did it for Mon Mothma. Yeah. So they might do it for Carrie Fisher, or they just might exclude her entirely and just like put it with R2-D2, which would be much
That's
easier
true.
to do.
That makes
Like
more
hand it
sense.
off to R2D2 or somebody, and then send it with Leia, and we know the next story. You know, okay, that's the end of this thing. So, yeah. So, and Danny Martinez is saying in the chat room, he's glad he cut the live feed. We're glad to make her drive to work a little easier, man. We appreciate your watching the show. That's kind of it for the show.
The
Yeah,
road, man. The road.
the road, man.
Listen to us, but pay attention to the road.
Absolutely. But that's it for the show, guys. So that's it. We're done. This is it. Finito. We appreciate you watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. And of course, if you want to support our podcast, you can do so at
geekbytespodcast.com/support.
Absolutely. There's a ton of ways you can help support the podcast, whether it's clicking on our Amazon affiliate links, getting us a little advertising percent for anything you buy, or just sharing the podcast. Twitter, Facebook,
you guys, we'll plug you guys.
whatever, guys, we appreciate. Or supporting us on Patreon like those other dudes, and we'll make you weird and funny videos, or give you shout outs on the show. There's a ton of stuff you can do to help support the podcast and make it more financially less of a burden on us to make the podcast. So we appreciate all the support though you guys give us, even if it's just watching and commenting. You make the show, we make the show entertaining for us. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for watching and listening for the podcast, for Geek by Podcast. I am Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgar Acosta.
And remember, folks, to go geek out about something.